I went from being a bride looking forward to getting married to a third party, ruining other people's relationships. It seemed like there was nothing left to talk about between him and me. I blocked all his contact information quietly. After 3 years of admiring him, and 7 years of being his girlfriend, I thought we would eventually get married. But in the end, it was all just a fantasy. Timothy liked quiet and soft girls, so I suppressed my nature and behaved like a gentle girl. He said he didn't like his girlfriend to be too clingy, so I restrained my desire to approach him and kept my distance from him. He also mentioned that he didn't like his girlfriend wearing beautiful slip dresses, so I replaced all the clothes in my wardrobe with casual suits. After 7 years together, I had changed myself into a completely different person. But it wasn't until his childhood sweetheart, Mia Adrian, came back that I realized that all his demands were just for me. When Mia was being noisy, Timothy would praise her for being cute. If Mia called him for a trivial thing, Timothy would feel satisfied to be needed. When Mia wore a sexy slip dress, Timothy would stare at her with his eyes wide open. So, everything about Mia was good in his eyes. Whenever Mia called Timothy, the latter would leave me and go find her without hesitation. Timothy always gave a loving look when speaking of Mia. Mia is still young and needs me. You are different. You've lost your parents since you were a child, and have long been accustomed to loneliness and independence. My tragic life experience actually became an excuse for him to abandon me. He didn't even realize that I was actually a few months younger than Mia. I knelt in front of my grandfather's grave, feeling overwhelmed by sorrow and loneliness. From that moment on, I no longer had any family in this world, and no one would dare whether I suffered or not. My parents died in a car accident when I was young. Losing his son and daughter-in-law, my grandfather raised me alone. As he aged, his organs weakened. He said that I was the only one he was worried about, and hoped to see me get married and have someone cherish me as he did. But I let him down. Before dying, my grandfather held my hand tightly, his eyes full of attachment and reluctance. I'm dying, Evie. How are you gonna live now? I stayed in my grandfather's graveyard until dusk. When I returned to the matrimonial home, Mia and Timothy were coming in, arm in arm. Noticing I was in, Timothy pulled away from Mia's arm, and a trace of guilt flashed in his eyes. Evie, I didn't know you were here. I gritted my teeth and glared at him. I didn't want to cry, but my tears still flowed down. Evie, please don't overthink this. There's nothing happening between Mia and me. Mia only has less than a year left to live. She was really scared after learning the diagnosis and called me. Evie, you've always been understanding. Can you please stop making it hard for me? I didn't even say anything. Timothy had already begun to make his stand clear. Timothy, you say nothing is going on between you and Mia, but you married her. What does that make me? My heart sank in disappointment, and the pain gradually took hold of me. Timothy was stunned. He glanced at Mia. Mia, who had been remaining silent, came forward, grabbed my sleeve, and looked at me pleadingly. Bang! I slapped Mia in the face before I could realize it. Timothy stepped forward, stood in front of Mia, and pushed me hard. Evie Joe, what are you doing? Just vent your anger at me if you have any. Mia is sick, and she can't be provoked like this. How could you do this to her? Don't you have any empathy? So, that was the man who I had loved for 10 years, who I had devoted my entire youth to. He blamed me for being cruel. How ridiculous. A few years ago, Timothy suffered from acute liver failure. It was me who donated my liver to save him. Timothy held my hand and swore that he would never betray me in his life. He also knelt in front of my grandfather and promised that he would treat me well all his life and would never allow me to suffer any grievances. But only a few years later, he forgot his promises, caused my grandfather to die, betrayed me, and even accused me of not being empathetic enough. Timothy, you are the ungrateful one. Timothy's face changed a bit, and he seemed uncomfortable. Mia narrowed her eyes and stepped forward to speak up for Timothy. Evie, how can you rake up the past all the time? Besides, even if you didn't save Timothy at that time, others would have. You knew that Timothy didn't like you, but you still badgered him and made him repay your kindness. You took advantage of Timothy's guilt to fulfill your dirty wishes. Timothy's condition was quite severe at that time, and although the Gage family tried every possible means, there was still no liver available. It was me who, unable to bear to see him suffer, bit the bullet and agreed to donate my liver. Do you think so too? I stared at Timothy. He turned his head and said nothing. So, he tacitly approved. Well, I had no desire to talk to them anymore. It would only make me feel that all my previous efforts were a joke, but they obviously didn't want to let me go easily. Evie, Timothy and I have already obtained our marriage certificate anyway. I'm afraid it's not appropriate for you to continue living in this house. I had no intention of continuing to live there, but I felt insulted when she tried to kick me out. I suddenly picked up the chair next to me and smashed everything in the house to pieces. Timothy, I decorated the place. I can take it back, right? Timothy stammered, a conflicted look appearing on his face again. Mia screamed and suddenly fainted. Timothy picked her up immediately, and before leaving, he gave me a cold look. Evie Joe, if anything happens to Mia, I won't forgive you. I devoted 10 years of my life to that man, but in the end, all I got in return was I will never forgive you. The sorrow was like a flood, overwhelming me instantly. Looking at the mess in the house, I hardened my heart and called a repairman, who used a sledgehammer and smashed the house beyond recognition. Then, I returned to my grandfather's house. 3 days later, I received a call from the cemetery manager. I was told that someone was interested in my grandfather's graveyard and paid a high price to make them relocate my grandfather. These words were like a bolt from the blue, breaking my heart. I rushed to the cemetery. As soon as I entered the gate, I saw Mia and Timothy. They noticed me too. You're following me? Most people wouldn't come to a cemetery for no reason. Seeing me panting, Timothy subconsciously thought that I was following him in order to win him back. I passed by Timothy without even looking at him and strode inside. Seeing that I didn't badger him, Timothy couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. After arriving at my grandfather's grave, I saw two men digging the grave, and my grandfather's urn was already outside. What are you doing? Stop it! Stop it now! I rushed over, pushed them away frantically, and opened my arms to protect the grave behind me. Who told you to dig up this grave? Don't you think it's immoral? The two men in front of me looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Timothy's voice came from behind. Who are you calling immoral? Mia's eyes turned red as she wiped the corners of her eyes gently. Timothy. I looked for a long time and finally chose this spot. There is no photo or inscription on this tombstone. It's obvious that his family doesn't care about this person. If I give his family some more money, I'm sure his family will be willing to vacate the spot. Evie, this is my last wish before I die. How could you refuse me? I ignored them, snatched the shovel from a man, and filled the grave up again. Mia cried even louder. Timothy, I don't want to be sick, and I don't want to die. How could God be so cruel to take my life away and refuse to let me have a place to rest after I die? Her words aroused Timothy's sympathy. He held Mia in his arms and comforted her for a long time. Don't worry, I'm here for you. He turned around and snatched the shovel from me. Evie, what's your problem? Mia is sick, which is pitiful enough. Why are you doing this? Are you deliberately trying to provoke her? You are so cruel. Apologize to Mia now, and I will forgive you. Mia stole my fiancé and dug up my grandfather's grave. I wish I could kill her. Nice try. Timothy, don't make me hate you. Timothy pinched my chin and gritted his teeth. Evie, don't forget that you still need to take the imported drugs I bought from abroad every day to maintain your liver. I said I would supply it to you for life, but if you continue to act this way, I donated my liver to him, but never thought that he would use it to threaten me one day. Timothy ordered a man to hold me down and asked the other to start digging again. No matter how hard I struggled, I couldn't break free from the control. My tears fell into the soil uncontrollably. Timothy saw my tears, frowned, and was about to walk to me. Mia suddenly kicked the urn that had been thrown on the ground, pinching her nose with a look of disgust on her face. Evie, it's just a stranger's urn. Is it necessary to get so into it and make such a fuss? People may think we dug up your family's grave. My grandfather's urn was out there, and the restraints behind me were slowly loosened. I rushed forward, pushed Mia away, and held the urn tightly. Suddenly Mia lost her balance and fell into the pit of the grave. Timothy rushed forward to help Mia up. Then, he turned around, grabbed me when I was about to leave, and slapped me in the face. I could feel my cheeks swelling up quickly, and my head was buzzing. Before I could react, Timothy snatched my urn and threw it on the ground. Evie, I've had enough of you. What makes you think you can challenge my patience again and again? I couldn't hear what he said. My focus was on my grandfather's ashes, which were scattered all over the ground. I knelt on the ground, trying desperately to collect the ashes. Timothy suddenly stepped on my hand, squatted down, and held my chin. Evie, do you know what you look like now? You're like a dog that no one wants. Go away, don't step on them. I didn't notice the self-service sprinkler truck for cleaning the cemetery passing by. Then, the water wet my grandfather's ashes, and some of them flowed into the sewer along with the water flow. No. A great sorrow overwhelmed me. I'm so useless. I can't even protect my grandfather's ashes, I thought. I turned around and stared at Timothy, furious.